Hello, guys. Welcome to podcast 56. I'm here with Mark and Mick. Mark is from the band Dead Demons, and Mick is from Corners of Sanctuary. Have I got it right, Mick?
How you doing?
Doing good, everybody. And how are all of you guys?
Doing good, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I'm going to
absolute
start
pleasure.
off with Mark. Mark, can you tell us a bit about your band, Dead Demons? Where you from, and who influenced you in music?
Of course I can. I just want to say it's a pleasure to have to be chatting to you, Bastion, over at South Africa, and to be talking to you, Mick, all the way over in Philadelphia, was it? I believe.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. So it's this is it's not just music that brings everybody together. It's the internet now. Everybody's included. Nobody's excluded anymore.
Right.
Yes, so basically, our bio reads that Dead Demons was born in the deepest, darkest Doncaster. It's not that deep, and it's not that dark. If to accurately describe it, you would probably say dirty, smelly Doncaster. But I can say that I live down the road. So Dead Demons basically formed just before over here our COVID pandemic started in like March of 2020. So we formed around about January time. Chris, my guitarist, came to me and gave me a couple of ideas and said, "What do you think?" I says, "Yes, let's go for it." And Dead Man Walking was born, which was the first song that we released, and it just rolled on from there. Really quick to get our first EP ready to go, and then COVID-19 pandemic struck and lockdown hit and everything ground to a halt. And for 18 months, we really struggled to get off the ground and any kind of any kind of traction going. And then once the lockdown was lifted, we've been out and about touring touring. We've been supporting bands like Wolfsbane, with Blaze Bailey, we've done Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons from Motorhead, and Toby Jepson of Wayward Sons. Biggest influences for us all, really, as you can hear it in the music. It's things like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and for me it's Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford and Ronnie Dio and the big hitters, all the big hitters. A little bit of Fred Mercury in there, and even as far as to say Dirk Schneider and Halloween and Accept,
Oh, yes.
and just that kind of genre of music has always been in kind of my. I'm a little. I know I look very very young to say that, but it's always kind of been in my blood, and it has been from my early teenage years. So for me, it was a no-brainer when we started a rock band that it had to be heavy rock. I can't do the screaming, I can't do the guttural Slipknot stuff. So this kind of had to do, if you want to put it that way.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And Mick, what have you guys been up to in Corner of Sanctuary lately?
We stayed pretty busy. We actually just got done supporting Sponge.
Oh,
I don't know if
yes.
you guys are familiar with Sponge, but yeah, it was a good show. We have kind of been in and out of the studio the past few months. We just recorded our holiday track back at the end of August, and we're trying to finish up the EP that's coming out in January. We're going to be opening up for Mike Cramp. He's doing his whole White Lion run of songs tour here in the US. And we have some charity shows coming up since the holidays will be upon us. And we wrap up at the beginning of December, and we're not going to start again January 6th. So advance some time off. It's been a pretty busy year. We were in the UK in April, which was a cool 10-day run. We've been pretty busy all summer, so trying to just finish out the year strong, get ready for EP's release, along with the holiday track in November, and take some time off the holidays itself.
Oh, yes. I believe Al saw you guys in the UK. He went to see your show, and he actually enjoyed it, and he played some of the music from Corners of Sanctuary's album. So he actually played some of the songs.
Yeah. We when we were in Newcastle on Tyne,
Yes.
so we got the finally meet like in flesh and blood. So it's kind of cool. But
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
no, it was good. It was good.
Oh, that's awesome. Uh, Mark, I've got a question for you. The guys in Dead Demon, did any of them do music training? Uh, did any of them go to music school to study music, or are you self-taught musicians?
Well, I can speak for myself.
Mhm.
I can probably speak for three of them. I'm not entirely sure about the fourth. He's very I don't know if he's just obsessed or if he actually has been trained. So I could tell you that I've never had any kind of formal training. I've never been to a vocal coach. I've never been to any kind of. I did music over here. We when I was a kid, it's changed again now. We had something
Mhm.
called GCSEs, which were I don't understand the equivalent, but it's like high school equivalent before you go to
Oh
college
yes.
or you know. And basically, I carried out my GCSEs for music, but that was more listen to this track and tell me what period you think that's from. Oh, that's from the Baroque period. Why? Because it's got a
Oh,
harpsichord in it. You know, the very basic. Not what note is this? You know, E. No, that's not an E. That's a G. There was none of that. You know, it's not. I don't know if that was a G. I'm not that good. You know, but it. So I'm not, and I haven't had no formal training. It's just been a lifelong obsession, really, and it's turned into wanting to train and get better and better and be the best that I can be. Chris, I know Chris is self-taught. Johnny, I believe Johnny is the drummer. I don't believe he's ever been had any formal training either. I think he was just born on the drums. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was just drumstick in one hand, beer in the other, and I think that's pretty much been Johnny's whole life.
mhm.
Pete, I can't answer for Pete because Pete is he has a very decent understanding of music theory. I'm probably going to embarrass him now, but he has a really good understanding of music theory, and I think that comes from a lifelong career as a working musician because he's worked in pub bands and club bands, playing the working men's circuits and things like that, and
Oh,
things like club nights. So playing a lot of the a lot of the well-known cover songs that we were talking about backstage.
mhm.
That's where his theories come from, and he loves Van Morrison. I don't know what it is about the musician Van Morrison, but he has a very unhealthy obsession about Van Morrison. There's something not quite right, especially in a rock band. There's something wrong with having a very unhealthy obsession with Van Morrison. Nothing wrong with him, but
Mhm.
he takes it a little. He bought tickets to go and see him, and I said why? And he went, I just really like Van Morrison. And then now every time I go to a pub, he puts it in the jukebox. He's got a T-shirt with his big face on it. It's going to a whole new level. There's something very wrong.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Mick, have you guys got anybody that's trained as full-time musicians at university or college or school? What do you call it over there?
Um,
College, yeah, college. Yeah.
well, it's college, university, and it's depending on the amount of students that are enrolled to get a college
Mm,
like title. Um, no, we're all basically just guys that had a passion at a very young age doing it, and
mhm,
kind of like they talk about the school of hard knocks, but that's kind of what it is with music. You get involved, learn the ropes, and get that kind of education there, and so several of us started like I started playing in clubs around 14, 15. I was playing with older guys, so it's a
mm.
good education for me. Um, I think it's kind of very similar story with the rest of the guys too. No one's really, they don't have a degree or certificate. What I know 9 chords, man. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to make a career out of it. I've been doing it for about 30 some years, so I guess it's kind of working out.
That's 8 more than I know, Mick.
That's
You're on a
right.
roll there,
Oh,
man.
I
Yeah.
didn't say. Hold on, I didn't say I played them well. I says I know 9 chords. I use a lot of E and a lot of A.
Oh yes. No, that's all about it. And I think if you've got a passion uh, to do music and stuff like that, you don't have to go to college or uni. You can actually teach yourself, go and see our musicians are doing it by watching them live and teaching yourself how to do it and learning music from scratch. I think that's the way you can do it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like, if there's a will, there's a way, right? That's the beauty about passion, and music is so open in terms of its interpretation. So there's a lot that it's not just. I mean, it can be, and there are people that look at it as very rigid, that,
Mhm.
but it's not as interesting. I think that music has that creative aspect that it could be anything it wants to be. And as we were stated at the beginning of this, the internet has made it even more so. People experience it all over, all walks of life, and it's given a lot of rise to the power of the individual artist. That's fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Uh,
yeah. Sorry, Bastion. I've got to agree with you there, Mick.
mm,
It's. I think that the music, even more so
mm,
now, especially
mm,
not so much the mainstream stuff. It seems very pushed out as kind of a just to make music and to make money, and
mm,
it's not right. Whereas I think that the music that's kind of coming out of the way that obviously Bastion best that way.
mm,
Bastion obviously promotes these bands. I think that the stories that they tell within the music, I think, like you said, it
mm,
doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be that story because for everybody
mm,
it hits a little bit different. And I think that that is the beauty of particularly rock and heavy metal is that they are a release for people and they do help sort of intertwine. We are all a family. It doesn't matter where we are. We're
mm.
all bound in some kind of blood, and that blood is it is well, it is heavy metal.
Right.
True,
Yeah.
Yep.
true. Got a remark from Johnny Booth. I have a diploma in fourth on the floor in
That's my
drums.
drummer. Johnny, behave. This is a serious discussion with T, and this we don't want to hear about you four on the floor. No, we're not having it. No, let's talk about Van Morrison. That's what we're here to talk about.
Well, it could have been worse. He could have said he's a fan of Justin Bieber. So,
It could have done. I'm not sure he knows who that is. I don't know. He worked for a lot of years in a Led Zeppelin tribute band, and so he spent a lot of time sort of enclosed within that very complicated kind of a world that you kind of have to live in inside of Led Zeppelin. So I don't think he actually was allowed to experience mainstream music and big artists
uh,
at that time. Plus, I don't know if he listens to mainstream music. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that he. I can't see him being a what do they call him? A Bieber Fever bellend or whatever they call him. I don't know what they call him.
okay, here's a question for you guys. Would any of you guys do Justin Bieber cover for your bands?
I mean, I don't know if I'd run out and do it. Probably. I mean, no, I don't know. I have seen. The thing is we've just my band has just recently got into doing some covers after all. Like
Mm,
I never got into music to do other people's music. But
mm,
we've been asked over and over again for a lot of years. Even some of the band members said, "Hey, maybe we should consider this." And I was always kind of like, "No, that's not what we're doing." But following the pandemic, we figured, why not? We've already demonstrated that we can do our own music. It's not like we're kind of selling out and saying, "Oh, I'm counting on the
mm,
cover song hit or whatnot." So we've been doing stuff, but we're doing covers that kind of resonate more with us than just kind of pick something saying, "Oh, this is a guarantee." Because again, it's trying to be, as a musician, like Mark was saying, it's like we're trying to be truthful to ourselves by we're telling a story that means something to us. And if it means something to us, it's going to mean something to somebody else. but it may be meaning something different, but you're still making that meaningful connection. So we kind of feel the same way with some of the cover songs that we've been looking at and considering. So I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I definitely open up for Justin Bieber. Why not, right? Chance to blow his ass off the stage, and he's got plenty of crowd. Why not?
Yeah, no. Again, I think I agree with Mick there. I'm not entirely sure we would, just for the. I mean, I'm gonna discuss it now next rehearsal, just for shits and giggles. Just trying to think of the very, like, I think the 3 songs I know by him, and I know Despacito is definitely out of it, you know. But no, I think I agree with Mick. It's you have to, when you do a cover, I think you have to pick a cover that one suits you, regardless of who does it, you know. So just not Justin Bieber, no, move away from Justin Bieber. Judas Priest did Diamonds and Rust, which was never ever meant to be a heavy metal song ever, but Rob Halford did it so beautifully, and the rest of the guys did the music so amazingly for it that because it resonated within Rob, because Rob loved that song, and that's that for me. I mean, I don't know about you, Mick, but for me, if I could do any cover, I would love to do a cover of Chemical Wedding by Bruce Dickinson, because it's such an amazingly, beautifully done song, and I just love to do it well. I don't even have to record it, just to do it well would be amazing.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like,
there's the one that would...
If you're going to do a cover, you like, and it's from someone that you really feel connected to, like you're saying, you want to do it justice or even better, or why would you do it? Like you're not going to do it just to bastardize it in a way that's like, why somebody would go, why'd you do that? It sounds, you know, especially if it's a song that you love so much. But I agree with you 100%.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for me personally, I think if you do a cover, you own the cover. In other words, you do it your way to enhance or to pay tribute to that particular artist and say to him, listen, I respect you as an artist, and this is a tribute basically to you for that, and this is our version of the song, and this is the best we could do, and this is, we've put our name to it, we're happy with it, and that's it.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I think there's enough YouTubers out there doing good or poor covers of just yes. songs, and they get millions of hits, and that's for them, for their content. You know, we let the musicians, and I use that for myself in the loosest of terms. You know, let the musicians, because let's face it, Mick, you, compared to me, you are a musician. You've been doing this for 37 years. You are, whether it's 9 chords or 19 or 9,000, you are a musician. You've gained that level where you can tour in US or the UK. We're just starting. We're not quite there yet. So let the musicians do the covers that mean something to them, and more importantly, let them write their own music, and let Leapfrog Studios and let the bands that seem to think that, although it is the way forward, but let the bands that want to blow up on TikTok do that, because the reality is it doesn't matter how many hits you have on TikTok, you turn up at a club and there could be 3 people there, and it's still about giving those 3 people the best fucking night of their life, because that's what matters. Those people stood right in front of you. It doesn't matter how many times you get hit up on fucking Facebook or whatever. It's great, you know, to have 10 million followers, but are those 10 million people really going to be turning up at the local boozer? You know, it doesn't happen.
True.
Right. True. Right. Mark's right. 100%.
Oh, true. Tell me, any chance of Corners of Sanctuary and Dead Demons sharing a stage?
Why not? I would love to.
Why not? Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know when we're coming back to the UK, though. We were actually just at the last week. There was some talk about it again, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But absolutely, we can keep that on tap. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's that. I mean, I'll take it.
I mean, when we were over there, we toured, um, with two UK bands as along with some of the other bands that were put on the the shows by the by,
Mhm.
by the venue themselves. But
Yeah,
so it's not out of the question for sure, man. We stay in touch and we just put it together with the people that were doing it. Why not? And
absolutely. Yeah,
me, that's an honor, right? I rather tour
Mhm.
with a band that wants to be there and then doing this together.
Mhm.
It really is about helping each other out and
yeah.
having fun with it, right? Why
Oh, for
not?
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we feel the same. I think we, I've had a very, very quick glance. I was told backstage that you were joining Mick and it was Corners of Sanctuary. So I had a quick, very, very quick scout on Facebook. Obviously, I'll get following and we can have a chat. Whenever you guys are looking at that on a more serious note. I know sometimes it's just chatter, but sometimes obviously that chatter then becomes quite a serious note, and then it's like, I've booked flights. We've got a bus. We're ready to go. But
Right.
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah. I mean, we're now at that stage, which you will have been, Mick, at some point, where we can now, we don't just have to pick every show.
Right.
It doesn't matter. So um, we played a show a couple of months, but no, last year now, with a band called Death Valley Nights. Great
Mhm.
guys, fantastic guys, but the genre that they were in didn't quite fit with the genre that we play. So the people that had turned up to the show to see Death Valley Nights weren't necessarily going to be interested in what we did. So we're now able to be a little bit more, not selective, because I still think beggars can't be choosers, but we can still. So if we're given a metalcore band, or let's say a band called like The Treatment, I don't know if you've heard of them, Bastion, but they are quite
Yes.
big over here in the UK at the moment. When we were given the opportunity to play with The Treatment, it was Treatment all the way. Um,
Mhm.
but I think our we'd need somebody to kind of um, hold our hand while we were out in the US
Mhm.
or Canada, or
Mhm.
anywhere really, because for a US band to come over here to the UK, it's very hard for you to kind of get lost, and to we're quite a small island in comparison. So if you were to do a London show, then you could go to Bristol, then you could go to Manchester, then Birmingham, then Newcastle, then Glasgow, kind of thing, and you work your way up, and then you work your way back down. For us to come over, I know we have friends out in California, so to work from California over to Florida, over to Texas, over to Delaware, over to. Do you see what I mean? And we have
Yeah.
no idea how
But
these logistics work. We don't know how far they are. We don't know. Google Maps is a great help, but we don't know
Mhm.
how to kind of work it. So for us to come over to the US, we I feel that we kind of need a bit of a helping hand kind of thing, and it's But I'm never not going to say never, not going to say no, because that is the dream. That is the dream, is to play out in US and Europe, and and not just a pub in Sheffield. It'd be nice to
Mhm.
expand a little bit.
Well, I've got a question from Al. He said, Mark, will you uh, tour US and Canada? Because most of the bands that go to the US, they do US and Canada. Or do Canada first US, or first US then Canada?
I don't. It would be whatever would suit us and the other band. Really, I think
Mhm.
I mean, we could go out on a whim and come out on our own, and that wouldn't be an issue for us either, really.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to rule it out. We'd love to. It's something that was definitely being discussed on the cards, at least for the last 18 months, and we do. I think we need to turn it from, like
Mhm.
yourself, Mick. You probably did the same when you started talking about coming to the UK. I think it starts out as like a bit of excited chatter, and then you forget about it for 6 months, and then it gets mentioned again, and then eventually somebody just has to go, right, are we going or not? And you go, yeah, let's. Do you know what? Let's do it. And then it turns out to be either the worst tour you've ever done, but fuck it, it was an experience, or one of the best tours you've ever done, and you can't wait to do it again. So we need to we're now in that stage of I'm getting impatient, so I'm kind of, are we doing it or not?
Mhm. Well, I think if you've built up a network, because I know a lot of people uh, in the States and in the UK that's helping each other out. Like you go and play, come over to my hometown or home state or whatever, got a few gigs set up. I don't know bands in the states that set up doing it in their own thing is New Hampshire Sepsis, the band US band Sepsis,
Oh, right, okay.
and they're promoting all the Manchester bands in New Hampshire. So get in contact with those bands, go over and play there with Corners of Sanctuary, uh, network and work out things between bands and say, listen, we're coming over there. What gigs do you or venues you suggest, and possibly doing something like that?
Yeah.
Because that's what I found, and I also found people talk about US and Canada and the UK, but also Mexico. Mexico has turned out a lot of great acts lately as well.
Yeah,
I'll have to look into it.
yeah. Canada definitely has its own scene. It has its own um, set of rules and standards. We're
Mhm.
actually we're scheduling to be in Canada next summer, or the summer coming, in July. We're supposed to do a run of shows in a small festival, but we're still in the. We have a couple dates already set, but we're still trying to build the whole process because this will be our first time in Canada. Uh, because, like you said, there's a lot of ground to cover, and COVID pushed a lot of things back and changed a lot of the rules and guidelines, and everybody's learning still new standards, how not to lose their shirt in the process and all that. So things are taking a little long, especially for your independent bands, your smaller type bands. It does take a little longer to get. You have to figure out the financing because I'm sure you're all aware. Like the cost of touring now is just crazy.
Yeah.
For our UK tour, we had gotten it took us a while to get a number of sponsors. We had about a year's worth of planning, along with uh, negotiating different sponsors and helping the tour be as successful as it was, just to get us over there. Make sure that we're covering all the bases in terms of what one country wanted over the other country, so that we get in and out of the countries without issue. So there's a lot more of that now than there was prior to COVID. To have and so try to allot yourself enough time. But I'll tell you the one band that because we were over in the UK in March of 2020 when US shut down. We were kind of lost our flight, we were stuck over there. Tour had got canceled. We had to find our way home. Anyway, we had met a band while we were playing one of the shows, and they said, if you guys come back, like to play with you. I said, yeah, absolutely. Well, that band was one of the bands. I mean, talking 3 years later, that band was one of the bands that joined us this past April. So we make the connection. I mean, we'll do whatever we can to keep the band, uh, associated in terms of they want to perform. Because a lot of guys, they talk, but they don't want to do. And then the guys that are really hungry and got the passion, that's who we want to work with. So you never know what's going to happen.
No,
Hopefully
no.
things continue to go in the right direction. You know what I mean? If we don't go south again, but we'll see.
It's I mean, it's yeah. COVID was a big thing over here, and then Brexit, because of our exit from the EU. Obviously, not that's for discussion for another time. But that brought in a different set of rules for musicians, for touring and traveling musicians. So particularly, I know one of the ones that stand out is merchandise. So
Right.
if you have merchandise manufactured in the UK and then take it out to, say, Belgium, you sell as many as you can. Say you sell £1,000 worth of T-shirts. When you come back to the UK, you have to pay 30% of that into the UK government. So you've lost 300 quid straight off the bat. The 300 quid
Right.
gone, obviously to cover your fuel, to cover this, because that's where that's where your sales come from, really, isn't it? It's merch. It's not
Is it?
it's
Or, yeah,
streaming and things like that. It's
Mm.
merch sales. So if you sell $1,000 worth of stuff, the UK government say, okay, yeah, we'll take 300 quid of that. No problem. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, but that 300 quid was going to be our flight home kind of thing. Uh, what do you want us to do about it?
right.
And it's just gone mad. Everything just seems to have gone absolutely mad. Well, I'll tell you who are suffering over here. I don't know what it's like over in the US, but over here it's venues, pubs, and bands. That's everybody is kind of, we're getting back to a normal now, which is great. But again, the war out in Ukraine seems to have had a really huge knock-on effect on things over here. They were even talking about CO2. It was like, what? Yeah, CO2 supply is low, so we're going to have to put your beer prices up. What? How long has
Oh
the Russians
no.
been keeping hold our CO2? Like, I breathe the fucking thing out. What are you talking about?
Right.
It just absolutely it's just gone mad, and we don't know what's right or wrong. So yeah, you notice a lot of UK bands now doing kind of 3 week tours, and that's it. They can't afford to do anymore.
Right.
Whereas I'm
Yeah.
sure you're covering. I bet you cover thousands of miles sometimes, and we can't even cover 400 miles without moaning. It's unreal. But the one thing I wanted to say, Mick. Sorry, I know I'm taking over probably half of this interview, but we do have some friends of ours in another band called Stop Stop, and Stop Stop is like a glam sleazy rock band. Really good fun, really great fun band to watch. And they've been out to the US once or twice. And Jacob says to me that when we last talked about it, because they've just done the Monsters of Rock cruise last year, and they got to meet Alice Cooper and Jeff Tate, and all. That's when you've kind of hit the
Yeah.
mark. But they said that it's. He says, and these are his exact words. He's Spanish, and so every sentence starts with motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker. My name is Jacob. I am from the south. And these are his exact words. We were talking about, and he just goes, "You need to go to America, man. Fucking Americans are crazy." What do you mean? His exact words were, "They will drive 8 hours to come and see you. If they know you're playing at this place, they will drive 8 hours to come and see you." There are people here in the UK that won't walk to the pub that live next door, just because you're playing. But he says some people that have seen you before, if they know you're in the state over, they will drive to come and see you, and they will drive the whole way because they know you're playing.
Yes,
What the fuck? I says, where do I
that is
sign?
actually true.
Where do I go?
In some places it is like that. I wouldn't say everywhere, but there are places that, especially if they know there's a limited run, or they're not, this is maybe their only opportunity. Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Oh dear.
But see some bands that went on to tour the US, has done a year tour, and they're just touring the US for a year, doing all kinds of stops and stuff like that. And I see also the Atlanta International Raceway had a festival there. I think it was a 3-day festival with a lot of indie bands mixed up with the big names bands in the States. So that was actually a good festival there in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's become. Well, you have to, so that, sometimes the dirty little secret is a lot of those independent bands are paying to be on show tour, right? And they may be on like side stage or something. But what they're doing, I mean, the whole idea is the more bands they have, the more people they feel they draw. And in some cases that is definitely true. I mean, they're quick sets, they're 20-minute sets, 25-minute sets to fill on some things. I do know that a lot of festivals, say like Rocklahoma and all, they've started what's they have side stages that are like either campgrounds next to them or some other place that are owned by certain independent booking agencies. So they have like festival side festival for the festival goers, who are staying there, camping out, bring trailers, so that there's kind of music happening. 7. They're good ways for independent bands to kind of start getting noticed, get into the scene more. So is there a lot of opportunity? Yeah. Unfortunately, what we've experienced is not as many places to play
Mhm.
COVID as there was. Whether
A
that's because
lot of,
of COVID or because COVID just helped put up final nails in the coffin. But so you're getting a lot of bands fighting for the same places to play, and venues are already booked up, don't have space, or not doing. A lot of bands, I'm sorry, a lot of venues converted over to from original music, cover tribute music to other types of showcases that are bringing, because everybody's still, everywhere in the world, I
Mhm.
think, is still playing catch up from what they lost, and bands are doing the same thing,
Yes.
right? You got a lot of bands are just pumping out dates and nickel and diming themselves along the way. Unfortunately, that model's not working the same way as it did, because that hasn't changed for them, but the cost of everything else has, the gas, the rental, equipment, what
Oh
they have,
yes.
crews or the sound man. So it's just about finding a way that still works for your band, your model, whatever.
Mhm. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
it's the same. It's the same here. Like you said, Mick, I think it's a worldwide thing, and I don't blame venues. I don't blame venues at all for certain parts.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you said, if you have three original bands on and you don't pay any of them, but you're only going to fetch 20, 30 people in, and they're only all going to buy two drinks, you're going to make,
Mhm.
I don't know, 500 quid on wet sales in the end somehow.
Mhm.
And whereas you could have a tribute band in, Oasis is still a big thing over here. I've no idea why, but it's still a big thing over here. And so you can have there's a tribute band out there called
Mhm.
Noasis. You could have Noasis in that you can pay them 1,500 quid, and you'll make 4 grand in wet sales. And it's
Mhm.
sometimes it makes you feel a little bit sick, because well, it does, doesn't it? You know
Mhm.
you're working hard for your music to write the songs that
Yes.
you want to write, and then some idiot puts a parka on and puts some shades on and goes, "Hey, maybe,"
Yeah.
it's not even the same
Back.
guy, and they're making thousands out of it, and it does frustrate. But I understand that venues do it to keep themselves. We know a venue. I don't know if you played here. You should definitely play here when you come back to the UK, Mick. It's called Night Train up in Bradford,
Oh
and
yes.
they are, yeah,
I
and
know.
they are starting to make a good name for themselves. It is a fairly decent sized venue. Paul Diano's playing there in November, and they do get some big names in there. So, but Keith still has tribute bands on. He does have the very odd to have a covers band on, but it's usually tributes. But it's more original music than anything, and the way that Keith does it, and I'll never fault him for this. He has a full time job, and those wages from his full time job go into the bar, to keep the bar afloat. And
Mhm.
that's to keep the club alive, because live music is it's what he wants to do. So for him to continue to, he doesn't mind that he's working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, because he knows that
Mhm.
he's got enough money to live on. But he has to do something, and instead of having to sell himself out for covers and a lot of tribute bands, he does it this way, and I can't blame him. It's
Mhm.
what a sacrifice to make. It's amazing, and I'll never ever forget him for it. He's a beautiful person, and that's we need more Keiths in the world. That's what we need.
True. True. Tell me, Mark, what does your schedule look like for the rest of this year, doing gigs and stuff like that, playing at events?
Uh, so sorry, Bastion. Just before that, Johnny, bugger off to sleep. I'll see you Friday. So yes, bugger off. That's Johnny again, my drummer. He's still abusing us, and it's still yes. So so I know I've just been bashing covers bands and tribute bands, but we
Mhm.
still go out as a covers band from time to time. That money actually fuels the Dead Demons side of things when we can't,
Mm-hmm.
when we haven't sold enough merch and things like that. So the fees that we gain from the covers band Resurrection actually go straight into Dead Demons, so that we have the money to tour, to do CDs and things like that. For Dead Demons, we've got our new EP to be launched next Friday on the 6th of October. We actually have a launch party the day after in Worksop with a couple of new Wobben bands. So we've got Abattoir, which is a witch find, a resurrected band, shall we say, and we've got Medusa Touch, and then we've got Iron Maiden weren't available, so we just said, these two will do then, I suppose. Something about Nico said no, he ain't got the right sandals or something, I don't know, and then we've got a charity event on the Sunday, and then after that it's quiet, but we do have a couple of gigs. We've got one in Lancaster, and then one in supporting Wolfsbane in December. It's quite sporadic. We don't have a set of tour dates listed up ready to go. It's at the moment we're still quite a sporadic, last minute setup. Once we have the following that we believe we need across the UK, then we'll start to put it together. We played London not long ago, and we played to 8 people, and that's great. It's still an experience, and those eight people are now followers of Dead Demons, but 8 people don't pay for the petrol and the hotel, so it's you kind of have to weigh it up. Could we do a full UK tour at the moment? Not on our own, and probably yes, no. So yeah, that's us. That's us at the moment. We're quite quiet for the rest of this year.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Just want to say bye, Johnny. Thanks for coming in. Then, Mick, I've really heard what you've got. Then I'm going to let the people know about my EP for this week, and it's going to be an EP from the band Dead Demons. Let me just get my stuff ready, because my memory is starting to get bits on the loose side after all of these years. It's Trial by Fire by Dead Demons, and it's going to be out on the 6th of October.
Yep.
And I previewed it and gave my thoughts on the EP, and the link is in the chat, I believe. And go and check it out, and do go and buy the EP for sure, because it's got my blessing, and it's got so many great songs, 5 of them. And yes, I'm sure it's tax deductible. I'm not sure about the UK, but who cares? Use it as a tax deductible Christmas gifts for grandma.
my grandma would give it back. I do believe that on the US version of iTunes, I do believe it's cheaper because of the tax. I don't know how that works, but
Oh,
it seems to be cheaper on iTunes when it is released. It's not out yet, but I don't know. But no, we can't wait. Thank you very much, Bastion. It's not what he was saying backstage, Mick. He says the music, the instruments are amazing. The vocals are shit. That's what he was saying. I'm not. But no, thank you for that, Bastion. I do appreciate that. It's been a long time coming. 3 years of solid work with the second EP, and I just hope that everybody enjoys it as much as we enjoyed making it, because we really did. We actually came out of the studio this time with every song and said we are 100% happy, and then we listened to it and then said, well, we're 95% happy, and we've run out of money, so we can't do anything else about it, and these things. No, we come away and we all said this is the best that we could do, and this is we love these songs, and I cried at one of them, because it was a culmination of 3 years of hard work, and this is the first proper fully produced EP that we did. The first EP was more of a almost like a Kill 'Em All style kind of EP.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very much just gain turned up, kind of sounds like you played in your garage. You know, and then a couple of polishings here and there. But this one was not overproduced. It was just the right amount of produced. It was nice and polished, and it sounds and I can't fault the guys at Electric Bear in Mansfield in the in Nottinghamshire. They've done an amazing job, and they make me sound like I'm actually a worthwhile singer. It's I don't know what they've done, but they promised me they haven't used auto tune. I don't know if they've put it through a fucking pillow or what. I don't know, but I don't sound half bad. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but no, we yeah, that's it really. I can't say much more. We can't wait. We're really excited.
Well, for those that's been following us from when Project Metal's YouTube started, well, no, we're actually blessed this year with a couple of great albums and EPs that's been released. And Corners of Sanctuary, wow, I was just as impressed when Al actually played their music. I thought to myself, it's fantastic. And now this Rain of Trial of Fire by Dead Demons just is amazing. So I think people go and spend your money. I'm sure it's tax deductible. Go and buy this. It's better than donating for political parties. Spend it on indie musicians. I need it more.
I mean, if you want me to run for Prime Minister, that's fine. I can't do a bad job. Not a worse job than what's currently happening. But we have got, I think we've got about 30 pre-orders in so far. I believe, I think I signed 60 of them. So we've got the first 60 of them have been signed. So I'm not going to say run out and get it now because they're going to run out, because we'll probably end up with signature number 60 in there for the next 18 months. But and then somebody will go, yeah, that looks like a nice drinks coaster, that'll do. But yeah, so we I think we signed 60 of them. So that's what I'll say. There is a pre-order link on our website. We do on our Facebook page. We do post out everywhere, overseas. You know, we do post out to the US, and I think we've actually had 2 pre-orders from the US. We can't guarantee that it'll get there for release date of the 6th of October, but we'll certainly try our best. We can only, Royal Mail's shit over here, and then I don't know what it's like going overseas, you see, so I don't know how good the postal service is flying out over the pond, and then when it gets to wherever it does in the US post office, it could be lost forever. We don't know. Might turn up when we're 85 and go, when did I buy this? I don't remember this. What the fuck's this? That band died 40 years ago. What's happening?
Oh, for sure. Make any specials on albums, or if you buy one album, you get the previous album for free of charge or discount on it, or 2-for-1 specials at the moment on Corners of Sanctuary?
If at our merch table at all our shows, we'll wheel and deal with anybody for anything that they're interested in. We don't do a lot of, like, say, on our website, we don't do a lot of stuff on that. It's very hard to do, but there is a bunch of free stuff to get off our website. And I'm sure there's a bunch of pirated sites you can get a lot of music for free, absolutely. But we always kind of create some kind of package deal with people. But if anybody wants something in particular, just hit us up, DM, PM, or whatever they call that stuff, us, and we'll put together the package you want. You say, hey, look, I only got so much to spend. What can I get? Believe me, we fill that bag pretty full, so don't worry about it.
Oh, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because I know some of the guys might this year just found 2 bands, Corners of Sanctuary and Dead Demons, and they've bought the latest EP or album from you guys. But I want the previous one as well. is there any special going for maybe getting the previous album or the previous EP included with my next order? So that's why I'm always asking. It's not like I'm trying to, I can put the prices down for you guys. I'm just trying to give these guys idea. Listen, talk to the guys and stuck a deal with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want, and I'll fulfill it. No worries about it.
Yeah. If you want the first EP, you can fucking have it. It's you see that there, that's I'm not hiding anything else but boxes and boxes of the first EP. We got too excited when we first made the first one and ordered 500 of them, and we still have 499. So we're yeah. So if anybody wants more Tuesday Monia with the new EP when they pre-order it, just like Mick said, slide into the old DMs, let us know, and we'll just chuck it in the jiffy bag with you, free of charge. I'm sick of seeing them. They need to leave the house. Scrapman won't take them, so I need to do something with them.
Well, I will have a word of L off later on. We might give them away to people that's actually buying your current EP and as prizes on Digital Revolution Radio or one of the radio stations and give your first EP away. We'll talk to Al about it and see what we can organize.
Yeah.
But you have to buy your latest EP on 6th of October. That's the precondition.
Yes, that is. Yeah, well, they can pre-order it now. So if they pre-order it now, we will make a statement probably for domestic, probably next Tuesday. I'm going to say next Tuesday, Wednesday, to say, look, this is the last day that we can guarantee that if you order it now, you'll get it for release day. We can't guarantee
that's awesome.
everybody's going to get it, but it is being released everywhere digitally on release day.
That's awesome.
We made that mistake with the first one. We decided this time just get it out there so everybody can hear it. I don't know about you, Mick, but we find that people that have listened to the music beforehand, when they come to a show, they enjoy it more, and then they buy a CD anyway.
Right. Yep.
Yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
for
Metalheads
me,
are such amazing people. They are amazing people, aren't they? They're just fantastic. You know, you don't get that at a Duran Duran concert. Metalheads are just fun. They are though. They listen to Spotify and then they go, fuck yeah, you're amazing. I want a CD and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You've already heard the music. It's the same on Spotify. I don't care. I want that CD. I'm not gonna argue with you twice. You know, take it. You know, have it.
Exactly.
True. That's true. And that's one of the advantages when you go to an indie show and you go and see these artists. You can go up to them, see, oh, they've got nice shirts and stuff, and probably signed covers of the CD or album. And sometimes they have vinyls also. You can buy the vinyls and sign the covers and everything. And you can talk to the band out there. How many of you go to a mainstream artist and see you're going to get a chance to talk to them and let them sign your album and shirts there? If you want them to sign the shirts, they'll sign the shirts. You can hang it up and cover it and show it in your room or whatever. That you can do with indie artists. And that's why I say go to Mick and Mark. If you see them live and go and have a chat to these guys. I'm sure they're open to it anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can't guarantee you'll get away, because as you've seen, I like to talk. So I'm not guaranteeing that you'll be able to get away and see the next band on. But yeah, we're all approachable, and I'm sure Corners of Sanctuary are exactly the same. Once we've played the show, we're yours. We're not superstars. We're not Alice Cooper. We're not hiding in the dressing room. Well, we might hide in the dressing room for 5 minutes just to say that was great. Let's get a beer and let's go outside. That's
yes.
You know. So you're right. We're not. No, we're approachable, and and we love to hear people say you were great or you were shit. It doesn't really matter. If people want to come and talk to us, come and talk to us. It's the best part of being in this band, is the people.
Uh, that's true. I think that's the true thing about the experience you experience. Uh, you can see the musicians put their heart and soul into every song that they played. Have a chat to them, find out where they're playing next. And when you build up that relationship with the bands and stuff like that, uh, you can actually know when they're playing again. If you see the band again playing at another venue, I remember you guys from there. I saw you there. In 10 to 1, I remember you as well. So you build up that relationship.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The music helps the bond, but
Hmm?
being able to make that connection, that's kind of the exciting thing about, like, the live shows. When we lost that for a while, we lost that connection. So they can have all the digital music that they want and all that kind of stuff. I realize that's an online presence and social media, but especially
Hmm?
with heavy metal and the hard rock, I mean, it's that live experience that both the band and the bands really
Hmm?
shine. Without that, the music the music isn't going to be what it's always been. It'll lose something. So thankfully, that's coming back, and we're grateful for it.
Oh, yes. Al is saying if you do go and see a live band, go talk to them. The band will appreciate it. And I agree with Al 100% there.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
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 Doesn't matter which band it is. Just go. Well, can't go talk to the big ones, but you can come and talk to us. No, anytime. I wanted to ask Mick what. So for you guys out in the US, and obviously you've just said that you're going to be doing your first sort of Canadian tour next year in the summer. What how does it work for you guys over there? Are they all ticketed events, and then you kind of put a meet and greet in after the show, or do you get to sort of pick and choose with certain venues, or is there like you said there were certain standards and rules that everybody had to meet for? I'm no doubt. I'm guessing that's for like instruments and merchandise and
Sure.
planning
Sure.
things, these kind of things. So how does it work for you guys at a show? Do you do a meet and greet? And if you do, is it before the show, after the show, during the
We,
show? You know.
we've done both, and sometimes that's it. Sometimes that depends on the venue themselves, what they have scheduled. Nowadays, a lot of it has to do with staffing. Staffing since since pandemic following, staffing everywhere is a problem. Just don't have
Mm.
enough staff. Um, but we always set up a merch table, and there's always a band member or two at the merch table, except when we're on stage. But before the show, after the show, so you can always get, like, there's always a meet and greet. So, and we don't charge for pictures. We don't charge for, and that's what we do. We don't charge for
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
Mhm.
Charge for autographs. I think a lot of that's a bunch of BS. Um, I mean, and we're not making top dollar, but why should I
Yeah.
charge for my signature or a photograph? You came to see me, you know? So,
Yes.
but we're always available to talk. I mean, we have a tendency that sometimes, depending on the venue and what they have in terms of security, we have a song called "On the Hunt" where we'll bring up a audience member or two and have them, sing with us, the chorus part, because it's a good chanting song. People seem to like it. So that's how approachable we are. We don't. I mean, if
Mm.
we start creating barriers, you're not going to have
Mhm.
people to listen to you, right? They're going to be like, well, I mean, again, there's the Metallicas and there's the Maidens and stuff. And I get that, and that's a completely different realm. But for the indie trench bands, um, that's kind of where that longevity of getting a listener is making that connection. And I mean, I had been talking to Elle for quite a while via the social media and online and doing interviews, but because of circumstances, we finally got to meet face to face, flesh and blood, and that makes that bond even stronger. So think about that. Like,
Mm.
that's what our music does, and if we get that live. Why not? Uh, yeah, I mean, some venues unfortunately, here some venues do take a cut of your merch, which is becoming more and more of a standard. So a lot of times you try to reroute, not go to those kind of places, like you were saying. I mean, merch is kind of like the financial bloodline of bands why they're on tour, because you're picking up because fans are actually supporting you by doing this, not just
Yeah.
because because they come to the show, they buy a ticket or whatever, and that ticket money is cut up to infinite
Yeah.
amounts of breeze.
Mm-hmm.
So for the band's merchandise, that's so. But yeah, you do have to follow. Some areas the restrictions are less. I mean, some places they're still requiring vaccinations. Some are still requiring cards, or I mean, people have a choice of wearing masks or not. But some bands have requested not to have interactions with the audience member because they're trying to stay healthy throughout the tour. Listen, which I understand. If you do have health problems, you don't want to put yourself or anybody else at risk. Get it,
Yeah.
but we start creating too many barriers, we're going to lose the audience, and we
Yeah.
can't we
Yes.
can't afford it. It's tough. It really is. So you try to play ball as much as you can, but you go where you can. That's what really makes it worthwhile.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
it is interesting. Sorry, Bastion, but when we played with Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, that
Mm-hmm.
was probably early last year now in 22, and Phil. So obviously, probably like yourself, met quite a few better known, well known, more well known musicians over the last couple of years, and Phil really stands out to me. Not because he wasn't rude. He was a nice guy. He was very polite. It's a Welsh thing. I think they're just all very polite people, and not like us. I'm sure Elle will agree. Some Northerners can come across a bit a bit aggressive. Like we're lovely people. We are lovely people. It's just unfortunately you have to take the loud with who we are, and I introduced myself because we're one of the support bands. You want to make sure that you make a good impression, because he might not necessarily hear you play, but you want to make sure that you give off a good impression. So I went to meet Phil, and I put my hand out to say, "Hi, Phil, you all right? Hello, my name's Mark. I'm from Dead Demon." And he looked at me and just went, "Hello, you all right?" And then walked away. Not and it After having a discussion with a couple of the guys in his band, they said, well, actually, Phil has had COVID, and he's still very COVID conscious. He didn't, he wasn't trying to be rude, but you were stood, you know, less than 6 feet away from him, and you reached your hand out to shake his hand, and he, he didn't want to say, get away from me, don't touch me, because that comes across as creating that straight away barrier.
Sure.
So the only way that Phil could do it was to kind of just say, hello, you're right, and then walk away. I don't know what it'd be like now, but you're right. COVID did create a lot of barriers for people, and I mean, even James Hetfield. You mentioned Metallica, but even James Hetfield on his pre-gig ritual stands at the side of the stage and smokes a cigar. And as he's smoking the cigar, he talks to the people in the crowd. Doesn't matter how big you are, you the fans are the most important people, and I
Right.
think some big bands need to remember that in some respects. Um,
Mm-hmm.
while we have no choice but to make sure that we know it, I think some of the
Mm-hmm.
larger bands have sort of taken themselves away from that, and it, it needs to change. That COVID should have been the biggest thing for them, which should have been support live music, support the fans that come out to the shows, and instead of charging £180 to come and watch them from spitting distance. And I understand that touring costs have gone up and things like that, but I don't mean to be rude. They have millions and millions of pounds or millions of dollars. Why why do they need to charge 200 quid a show? Why not charge, you know, enough to cover, enough just to cover? They have that millions of dollars in their bank. They don't need any more. They live off the royalties that they've had for many years. Why why do they feel the need to say, oh, you want to come and watch me at the O2 Academy in Newcastle? I'm going to charge you 95 quid. What? and we can't get some people to pay a fiver for a CD, and it's not about the money, but for you, Mick, same as me, that money it's a lifeline
Right.
sometimes. It,
I,
it,
yeah, I get it. I understand it. I mean, it's a mentality that I don't get, but I'm also not in that position, so I don't know what they're dealing with. But I understand. Like if everybody started just kind of like thinking that, okay, let's get more people involved, things would have down, then more people would get involved, and it would actually stimulate the economy across the board, and everybody would make out in the long run. But nobody looks at that. Everybody still has got that scarcity mentality. I got to make up for this time. I got to get the big chunk now because it may not be later. But see, like they go from here to here, they skip this whole part here. And I think if we stayed
Yes.
within this realm, with small fluctuation, of course, I think that the ebbs and flows would make more sense to the common man would, which I feel that I am, would be able to benefit because I play, but I'm also a fan as well,
yeah,
and
True.
that's just as important. Like I want to go see my favorite bands. I want to support, get the music, buy the CD. I don't digital download. I don't do any of that stuff. I
Yeah.
buy in actual physical stuff. Um, but I know what you're saying. It's tough, and it really is. Like I said, it's the empowerment of the artist, and more of because of the independent indie artist, we have that freedom that we can do these things. It just takes a little bit more. We got to think about it. Have to be careful how we do it so that we don't lose our shirts in the process. But we have this freedom that we can't. So we just need to, like, if we all got together and still managed to do that, do it in a way that benefits everybody. Maybe it starts becoming the norm rather than coming from the top down. 'Cause then you got guys at the top that are doing it, which I guess they can afford to do it, like you said, because they're living off royalties. Then you got guys at the bottom that are trying to do what the guys at the top do. It's not the same thing. It's coming off really, really brazen. It's coming off really
Yes.
rude and obnoxious. And it's like, and it's given a bad taste and a bad name to all the other people. Like, that one bad apple syndrome, right?
yeah,
It's the
Oh,
whole
yes.
and that's unfair on all of us.
I agree with you, Mick. I agree with you.
But
Yes.
listen, we get out there, we do what we can, we present the best that we can as artists, as the music, and we let the music speak for itself, right? We're doing and if we're true to what we do and what we say, we should never have to worry about the other stuff because people will either embrace it or they won't. I think that we want as fans will be the ones that embrace it. We can't do any better than that.
no, we can't, and it's
Yeah.
you're right. You have to stay true to the fans. It's
Yes.
all well and good trying to create digital, like you said, trying to create digital content, trying to make a digital presence, but in the reality, it's the people that turn up to the shows that mean the most, and it's those that that stick with you as well, that come back time and time and time again, and buy every single EP, every single vinyl, every single CD, regardless of how many you've done, and they say even the little criticisms, so you'll play a certain song and they'll go, oh, you played that last time, but I liked it the way you did it last time compared to this time because of that little thing you did at the beginning. It's because there's almost like a personal relationship that you've
Right.
developed with
Oh,
that.
yes.
They have that freedom to then say, not you were crap, but it was it was. Do you know what I mean, Mick?
Yeah.
Because certain songs you'll get not tired of playing them, but you'll think, oh, I know what we'll do. I'll just do it, a little, just a bit of opening
Yeah.
while the singer does his talking and whatever, or the drummer does a little bit of a solo or whatever you feel you need, and they'll go, no, I didn't like it. I prefer it when you just go straight into the song
Right.
and
Right.
and you do this, and it's that personal relationship that you gain there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. It's amazing to feel that way, and for people you would essentially wouldn't know in the street to say, I know you because I've seen you in your last 15 shows every time you've played here, or and every time I've seen you, this is the one we get normally. Every time I've seen you, you've been fucking shite, and it's like, but it's that they don't mean it. They loved it. They stayed for the whole show. But
Right.
it just seems to be a thing. They come to the merch table and they go, seen you now 5 times and you're fucking crap. Thank you very much. How was the show? Absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. Okay. Can I buy a T-shirt? Yes, you fucking can.
Yes.
You know, it's one of them. But yeah, the bigger bands don't have to do what they're doing, but they choose to, and it's those that unfortunately dictate the way that the music industry goes now. You can't keep blaming. So there was a lot of talk. I'm a late 80s child, so I didn't see the way that the record labels and the managers went for the, for the record labels and things like that. But you can't keep blaming them anymore, because these legendary bands have their own label or their own sort of independency upon themselves now. So you can't blame EMI as much anymore, or you can still blame them, but you can't blame them as much anymore. You can't blame, these powerhouse record companies anymore. It's to be honest, it's 75% the band, and
Right.
the bands have to be held accountable somewhere. But there's this nostalgia that seems to flow over everybody's face when they begin to play, which is a beautiful thing, but also at the same time, if the big bands start to see a dip in attendance,
They'll
maybe they would
adjust.
drop the prices,
Yeah,
but they won't. They'll just
right.
move.
Right.
And that's-
They'll adjust. Yeah, they'll adjust if they see something, but until people say, "Hey, I need to make a change," it may not happen anytime
Yeah.
soon. But who knows? We could be hopeful. But again, that's where the power is in bands like us. We can at least give the, like, as we're still working the trenches, right? Because
yeah.
still where a majority of the people will go. They have no other choice. So,
True. Al said, I've seen some of the musicians charging thousands for live shows.
Yeah, it's that's wrong. There's we went to see Iron Maiden in Nottingham, and I think it cost for 3 tickets for me, my wife, and my son about 240 quid, and they were for standing area tickets, and that was quite a bit. But I have seen I think Paul McCartney charging close to 1,000 for his seats. Elton John the same, and why do you need to? It's not even a VIP package. I do remember once that Ozzy and Metallica were touring at the same time, and Metallica were doing a black package, and I think it was about $5,000 at the time, and that was a photo with I think it was during the Death Magnetic tour. So it was you got a photo with the band. You got to hear the sound, an exclusive sound check pre-show, and a few other bits. A bit of a Q&A. Ozzy was charging $10,000 for the same thing, yeah, and it on it said there was a chance for you to meet Ozzy. Not you were guaranteed. It was a chance to meet Ozzy. You got an exclusive laminate. You got a lanyard and a photograph in which if the Ozzy didn't turn up, they would Photoshop Ozzy in. $10,000.
Wow.
And I know somebody that paid that, and it was like, no, I'm sorry, but no. And this was about 16, 17 years ago. It's like, no, absolutely.
Wow.
And I know people that do charge for meet and greets. The smaller bands that's still in the trenches. 25 quid. You get an hour with the band. You get as many photos as you like. You can ask as many questions as you like. You can have whatever you want off the merch table. You can have this, you can have that, you can go backstage, you can see the sound check, you can see it. It's like everything, exclusive areas. And then you've got people like yourselves, Mick, that just come to the table and you can ask us what you want, we'll sign what you want, you can buy what you want. It's free. We're not charging you $10, $15. We're not going to charge you a penny. It's come and talk to us because we want to hear from you.
Oh, yes. See, for me, sorry guys, for me, that's why I've got a lot of respect for people like Dee Snyder, Ronnie Romero, and guys like that. That's gone back indie. Yes, they're big name, they released indie because they said they want to do the music the way they want to do it. They're going to release this indie uh, as part of themselves or indie label, and they're doing it for the love of the music and for the fans. And for me, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's possible to do. Just got to be. I mean, you don't want to put yourself in jeopardy. You can help it, but there's a right way of doing it where I think it does benefit everybody in the long run. So, and and then you still put on a good show. You at least good music. You're kind and considerate to come out and support you. So that's at least that's what we're trying to do the best that we can, and we try to, and we take one show at a time, right? We don't get too far ahead of ourselves. This way, nothing gets overlooked. No one gets overlooked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, we're not in that position yet. We have no choice but to take one show at a time at the moment. But we're not. We don't look at. We're not ready for touring at the moment. I know I keep saying that. I think that's just me niggling in the back of my mind. But I think we have no choice but to take it one show at a time. But you're right, Mick. You have to give every show the best that you can give it. Obviously, I know you can't give 120% for every show, because if you do 8 shows on the dot, by show 4 you'd be, you know what I mean. You can't go over the threshold, but you have to give them 100%, and you have to be true every show. You can't. They know when you're holding back, and they know when you're faking. They're your fans, and they kind of just, they have this feeling, and they can tell, and then it puts them off, and then you've kind of ruined that for yourself. Everybody has an off gig, but as long as they can still feel that you're giving it your absolute all, it doesn't make a difference.
Oh yes, it's true. As long as you're also not mime while you're doing a concert or.
I mean, miming. I mean, has anybody been to see Motley Crue just lately with this supposed drumming tracks and
No,
no,
not interested.
No, I've never been a big
I haven't seen.
fan, but no, it doesn't feel right, does it? It feels wrong.
No.
It's not rock, is it? It's you can play to a backing track, I suppose, but you've been such a live band for all those years, you can't lie.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, I agree with you. No, definitely. I just think if you do it live, you do it for the fans. What you put on your album or your EP, you must be able to produce the same quality of stuff when you're doing a live gig.
That's true.
And some of the bands out there can't do it because what they do in the studio, they can't do a live performance. So when people go and see them live, they think, but I feel I've just been ripped off because I bought a CD or album and these guys don't sound anything like it.
Yeah, that's wow. That's a whole nother discussion of other things, but that's, yeah, I can't get into that, but you just play, man. You do the best you can. It's not like you're digging ditches or carrying boxes. You're playing music. That's what you got into business for.
Yes.
You should be able to play your own music. Even just if you don't play it great, at least you're still playing it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's for sure. And that's something that, how can you put it, some of the mainstream radio station, they like to play the radio edits of songs. And I refuse to listen to radio edits because if I do a song and I say, listen, the song is amazing, and the people listen to the song and they're going to listen to the band live, they're going to tell me, but the people are cursing on the song and are using bad language. I brought my kids there, and you recommended this to my kids. I said, I don't do the radio edits. When I say the song is fantastic, or the show we're doing on Project Metal is 18 plus, that's exactly it. It's 18 plus. We don't censor anything. We, as this song is released by the musicians, that's how we play it, and that's how we listen to it.
Uh,
It's I think it's a hard one over here. Being, I'm not sure what it's like over in the US because you're such a large country. Obviously, it must be. I don't know if do you get national. Do you have national radio stations, or is it state by state, region by county, or um,
you get a lot of the stations are out of the major cities, but a lot of them are owned by the same large corporations.
mm,
So you'll get that. So it's not just one radio station that's playing, two radio stations that's playing everywhere. They do have syndicated shows,
Mhm.
and it's usually out of the major cities. You'll get 3 or 4 big radio stations, but they're connected to other big cities. So it's and I think I may be wrong on this, but I think there's 3 or 4 large companies or corporations rather that own most of the stations, but we still have independent owned stations. They're much smaller in their bandwidth, of course, but they're and they're but they'll have like a local following, real strong local following around, and they usually are the ones that play less mainstream and more of things that people really want to hear, not like the same 5 Beyonce songs now, or some people sometimes hear some older hits with some more modern stuff, but the modern stuff you don't hear on the mainstream. So it's kind of interesting.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
we don't. So we have quite a lot of national radio stations. It's all run by the BBC, and then we have like, again same as yourself. There's certain companies or corporations, conglomerates that have decided they want radio stations, and but there aren't many really that do kind of rock music or metal music. So the biggest one for us on the top of our head is Planet Rock, and I guess you could call it national. It is on our national radios, but it's mainly an internet radio kind of thing, and so they're our mainstream rock station, if you will. And the problem is again, it's just they kind of play. I could pick your Spotify playlist out of everything they play all day, and you'd go, well, it's the same fucking 10 bands all day. There's no
Yeah.
there's no difference in it really. We got played there. We got played last week about 11 o'clock at night. When nobody's really listening, when the night shift are on, and we'll never get played on it again. But that's we're not bothered. We're not looking for mainstream success. We're not looking for some for a record label manager to be sat listening going, I want them now. I want them now. So we do get picked up by mainly online radio stations. We've been played in Scotland, Greece, Sweden, Netherlands, the US, on 2 different fucking sides. It's and that's where the internet comes in really, really handy for us, because when we do eventually decide that we do want to come over to your beautiful shores, we'll pick. It's gonna be. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably gonna be California. Chris knows a couple of guys out there. One of them is a radio DJ. So we'll probably end up plus the whiskey Rainbow Bar and Grills over there. So and we'll already have a fairly decent, a small following over there, because they all listen to this radio station that we get played on quite often, and that's a good starting point. Especially if we go out to Greece, we know we'll pick somewhere where they do listen to this radio station, and it's yes, but we don't. Who wants to be mainstream now? I'm saying that if I got picked up tomorrow for £1 million, I'd be on it, like a tramp on chips. But
Yeah.
but let's be honest. If you were offered £1 million right now to go out on tour, you'd you even if you say no, something in the back of your head would go, "You fucking idiot! You what have you done?" Because it's that £1 million is not because you want to sell out your music. It's there to kind of, you can do it now. I'm a vehicle mechanic for a heavy vehicle mechanic for my full-time job. So this is a weekend job for me. Don't want it to be a weekend job. I'd love to do it full time. I'd love to be a full-time, rock god, as we'll say. Let's use the word very loosely. But unfortunately, I've got a wife and 2 children at home, and being a rock god doesn't pay the bills yet. When it does, then we'll do some talking. But at the moment, unfortunately, I have to get up at 7 o'clock every day, put my pants on, and go to work. And that's, so if anybody's listening out there and they want to offer me £1 million to go out on tour, then you're more than welcome. I will slide into your DMs and give you my postal address, and I will send you a free CD. That is the guarantee right there.
Well, then it's going to fit in with Al's next question. Mick and Mark, if a director of a movie or TV show comes to you to use one of your songs, would you allow them to use it?
Absolutely. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Can I be in the TV show or movie? I'd want a playing part. I'd want to be the creepy bloke in the background. That would be my only condition.
Oh yes, but I'm sure you want the green stuff as well. When they use your songs and stuff like that, you're not going to do it just for next to nothing.
I don't know about you, Mick, but I know for a fact that our song will be used in a B movie horror, and they don't make very much money. So that's where our music's going to go. So if they want us in, that's great. But I want an acting career out of it as well.
Career out of it.
So if somebody like Rob Zombie said to you, "I want you for my next Cannibal Corpses, 2000 Corpses Part 2. I want your songs," and you're playing a corpse walking around, you would say yes.
Every day of the week.
Sure.
You don't have to even play a song, mate. It's Rob Zombie. If he just said, "I want you," and okay, yes, let's go. Where do you want me? Do I need to be naked?
Right.
that would be. It's Rob Zombie. You can't say no to Rob Zombie.
It's true. Right.
No, I definitely agree with you on that, because everybody's going to remember you after that Rob Zombie movie or whatever song. If he asks you to come and take part in his song or whatever, everybody's going to remember you. You sit on the right path.
As the naked fat guy.
Yeah.
That's all you want. That's all you want to be. Hey, you're the naked fat guy from the Rob Zombie video. I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, maybe you get a deal with Subway or somebody like that to eat our food to lose weight. An advertisement deal after that.
I think you need to be my agent, Basjan. I think we've got something going on here. I think this is so. If Rob Zombie, if you're listening, and Subway, if you're listening as well, I think we need to have a chat.
I don't know if Mick, you like Subway's food. Is it any good?
Years ago, I would eat it more often than I haven't been to a Subway in a lot of years, but it's back then when I remember it was very fresh, very I didn't have a problem with it.
So if you get a deal for a Subway advertisement after a Rob Zombie movie, you would say yes. I will eat Subway for breakfast.
Yeah, why not? You know what I mean?
You
Can
keep
you
saying,
imagine? Can you
Dad, what?
imagine? Can you imagine Rob Zombie making a Subway advert though? That's that would be something else. That really wouldn't it? It's I remember seeing Halloween and Halloween 2, his remakes, and they were crazy. Can you imagine him applying that into Subway sandwiches? That would be something else.
Definitely change the image. Definitely change the image.
Yeah, Jared, fuck
Oh,
off.
yes.
We need this guy now. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got no head on, and his guts are out. But look, hey, hearty Italian.
Well, let's put it this way. For a while, I was into Toma and the Toma movies and some of the music there. So I know all of the, I wouldn't call it B, it's more like C class movies.
Oh wow.
C horror movies.
Oh man.
The Toma horror movies. It's always something splashing, something spurting. So yeah. But guys, for me, I'm just having a great time talking. Any questions, guys, in the chat? Please come and ask away. Free to ask anything. Except don't ask our guest Mark from Yorkshire if he likes Yorkshire pudding. We're not asking that.
Is that wrong way, Yorkshire pudding? Bit gravy. You sorted. Yorkshire pudding actually apparently used to be a dessert. You used to have it with jam. I can't imagine having it with jam. I have it with my Sunday roast with gravy and taters. So I'm not sure how jam works into that equation. But no, it's Mick. Just a quick question for you. You said you've got a holiday song coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the song called, and is it about Santa, or is it about
It's
Rob Zombie's Subway?
Yeah. This is our 11th year of doing holiday song. We got into it just as something to, hey, let's give it a shot, something we want to do. So we wrote an original holiday song, and it went over really well. And then we started to write some more of them each year, and we also did some traditional songs like Jingle Bells and stuff like that. We did metal versions of them, but then we just took the main part of the song and then we added our own parts of the song. Some we added lyrics to, some we did, some instrumental, and they did well. But we kept writing original songs. So every year we write another original song. This year it's called Get on the List, and we've done different things. What we do with them is we have it's a break from the norm. We enjoy doing it, and we try different styles of rock, hard rock, metal. We've had punky type style songs. We've had acoustic versions songs, piano driven songs, more like hard rock, heavy metal, Halford type songs. Like we did a song a couple back, Snow, which was like a Halford inspired type approach to a song. But just a lot of it, they're uplifting, they're fun. We talk about the season and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, on a business sense, we get more airplay in the 6 weeks between Thanksgiving and Little Christmas, and we get on all different stations that normally our music would played on.
Yeah.
Both internet and regular radio. So it's always, you're looking at it as a way to generate awareness for the band. It's a fantastic business model, but we do it because we really do enjoy it. And a lot of times we'll have a benefit show around it. So we'll use the song, generate some awareness for one of the causes or some collections that. So it's just a way to give back to the community as we're having fun. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So what's the writing process like for the holiday song? Is it really different from your usual stuff, or is it, because I would imagine that as a holiday song it would have to be either really quite jovial or really quite not somber, but it's almost like do you know what I mean? Like a remembrance, kind of like a nostalgic sort of feel. So yeah. So is it usually different from your usual style of writing, or?
Yes. Well, there are some that we wrote early on that did have a similar flair. and then we put a holiday element, sound or tone to it. But in more recent time, what we've done is like we get to use more major chords, right? Because they're uplifting, it's spicing season, and they really are. They're uplifting. They're shorter songs, which is kind of nice at times. And we have some videos of them out there. They're usually just fun, silly lyric videos or whatever. But like a couple years ago, we had a song called "Rockin' the Holiday," and last year was "Christmas Together," which was a little bit more of a not. It wasn't a ballad, but it was like it had a romantic feel to it about the power of being together during the holidays. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. I mean, even the lyrical content, of course, is different than our normal writing. But for the longest time, like especially within metal, people have always done holiday songs, but it was kind of more like tongue in cheek kind of thing. It wasn't until like Trans-Siberian Orchestra really changed the flair of what holiday music could do for people and how inspiring it could be, like on a rock and metal sense. Because I go see them quite regularly, and it's funny because you'll see the crowd is like a much older crowd, and I'm saying these people don't even realize that TSO is Savatage. Like they're not even like they were kings of heavy metal, but now and they wouldn't give them the time of day, but now because they're doing holiday songs, so there was a lot of inspiration in that as well. But I think that you can have fun with it, but it can still be serious. It doesn't have to be tongue in cheek in a way like you're saying. Well, I want to do it, but I'm not really sure. But I'm out there. I'll be the first to tell you I love Christmas. I love the holidays. I celebrate Christmas in July all the time. Why not? What's the difference? If I make Christmas every day, I think I would. But it's really fun, and it changes the tone of things. It breaks things up. It does.
Yes. Awesome.
I will definitely have a listen. It's always fascinating talking to other bands and other band members because it's always nice to see their perspective and everybody is. I've never met an idiot in a rock band. That sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I've never actually met anybody that's just been, I just play guitar. Every guitarist that says I just play guitar, it turns out to be like a fucking, musical professor, and it do you know what I mean though? So what you were talking about then about the difference in lyrics and the difference in style and that you started to compare it to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's those kind of levels that you find fascinating that people they don't realise it. That there's a lot that actually really goes into making rock and decent rock and metal music because anybody can write a rock song, and you see it all the time. They're starting to talk about these AI generated things, but there's no base level to it. There's no underlying feeling inside of it. It's just somebody's written a song just to write a song. Whereas sometimes you will do that, but then in others, like you've said about the togetherness in Christmas and even rocking in the holidays and things like that, will have a meaning of having fun, of having a good time. I wish it could be Christmas every day, I think the only thing you're missing, Mick, by the sounds of it, is Noddy Holder. I think that's the only thing you're missing. Just in the background shouting "It's Christmas" every 10 minutes. I think that is unfortunate. It's our pride and joy over here is waiting for Noddy Holder to go "It's Christmas." I think that's. I think that's the only thing you're missing. So you're getting regular, but I think once you get Noddy on board, that's it'll be like
there you go. Yeah. I'll be official, right?
Official, yeah.
But no, I'll be definitely having a listen because it sounds like that the kind of music that you do and the kind of music that you write and the level in which you write it for is right up my street, and the differences in rock bands now is everybody has their own genre, but it sounds like, and especially with first impressions on your Facebook page, you do pride yourselves in kind of being the part of the new wave of traditional heavy metal, and it's it is totally up my street, and I'm gonna have to go away and have a listen. Not now because it's 11:15 at night, and I don't think the wife would be too impressed. But it's I definitely have to go and have a listen, even including the holiday songs. And I'm a bit of a Scrooge when it comes to Christmas.
Oh yes.
I hope that the songs will help change you, because I mean, we don't need.
I'm also going to have a listen to you stuff, Mick, like I always do. But yeah, now Al's got a question for you guys. Mick and Mark, do you play any video games? If so, what do you play?
Not me, man. Not me. Like I'm from the Atari generation back in the late '70s, early '80s. Like I haven't touched a video game since probably 1980.
I'm on the other side. I was born into the Nintendo Sega battle.
Oh yes.
So I was born. I think I was born with a controller in my hand. I do play video games when I find the time. I am a very busy person, and I'm sure Mick, even if Mick was a video game player, I'm sure he'd be exactly the same. You don't find the time really, do you? It's no. So when I do find the time, it's usually a football game, a soccer game. If I really want to put it down, I like to play the old first-person shooters, things like Half-Life and Unreal Tournament. For those that know what that is, it's just basically blowing shit up in really poor pixelated images.
I played Space Invaders and Missile Command, so I'm kind of going back there. That's about as one person as you can get.
I also play those, Mick. Frogger, Space Invaders. What was there? What was that IBM game with the cat, Alley Cat? Games like that.
Yeah, I know. I was in the Pitfall. I mean, I was probably my last favorite game, Pitfall.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah.
I've no idea. I know I've obviously played Space Invaders, but I've no idea.
I think sometime in the late '90s or something, they did a reboot of Pitfall, and it was a little bit more, upgraded. The animation was somewhat better than the little block stuff, dot matrix type thing. But yeah, that's Yeah, I mean, I don't even have that much time to watch TV half the time that I would love to. But someday maybe I will get back into. Who knows? You guys inspired me.
Yeah,
maybe some.
Yeah, my Netflix watch list and my.
I know it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you don't you think, oh, I'll watch that, and you never. I haven't seen.
Never get to it.
No, I haven't seen a proper series in about 5 years now. It's
Anybody play Pac-Man?
I played Pac-Man back in the day. Never really any good at it, but.
Oh yes. Remember the arcades, put your coins in and play the Pac-Man?
Yeah, I remember
There's a lot of coins. Yes, played myself, and it's also a good one. Al also played Pac-Man. Good one, Al. We both played the games and stuff, so... No, that's fantastic. Al, when you're ready to jump in, you can jump in and ask your few questions for the guys. But yeah, I hope we can all get together and have a chat in the future about new stuff coming out and new releases and new tours and stuff like that. And I do hope wish you guys all the best. Just waiting for Al to come on and do his bit.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
And thank you for coming on tonight. I really had a blast with both of you guys, Mark and Mick.
Thanks for having me on. It was great to meet everyone.
Yes, Al.
Hey guys.
Hey.
It's been fun. I have got a question for you, for both of you, Mick and Mike, Mick and Mark. Um, which band or musician would you, past or present, would you love to play live with on stage?
Well, I mean, I would listen. If Judas Priest calls, I'm there. They don't even. I probably wouldn't even hang up the phone. I'd just be, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Judas Priest. Yeah.
Hey, you never know,
I mean-
Nick. They've got KK's Priest now. You never know. You might. I know that they are. They're coming over soon, aren't they? So you never know.
Yeah, they're talking about coming over. Listen, I'll play. Listen, KK's my favorite guitar player. He's always been. I wish he wouldn't complain so much, but I would, hey, I'll play. I did play with Ripper twice. He's a great guy. Got a chance to hang with him for a while. But I would love that opportunity. I mean, listen, I'm at a stage. Anybody calls, I'll go play with. Right? We learned during COVID. If you can't beat them, open for them. If you can't beat them, cover them. Right? You got to do what you got to do. But that would be, and if it was somebody who's already passed, I would have loved to have the opportunity to open up, because I think that, he, what Dio represents in the traditional heavy metal community, I think is unmatched in terms of body of work and what he did to kind of help the music, especially during a time when heavy metal was kind of like going through this, wonky stage. Dio just kept pushing through with his style, and that would have been so. That's just me.
No, I present wise, I think I agree with you. I think if anybody rang me and said, "Do you fancy going for a show?" Yes, now I'm there. I'm there. I'm on the phone while I'm still driving. But I think if I could have a pick out for a lineup, it would have to be. I know they say don't meet your heroes, but it would have to be Bruce Dickinson. And I know he's just announced a solo album, and you never know, he might play small enough shows for us to jump on with him. Past I've got to say RJD as well. Dio was. It's just there's just I wasn't into. I haven't discovered Dio enough to go and see him live before he passed, and I mean to understand him more now, to see his work with Elf, Rainbow, Sabbath, and his own work. He's just and he was just the nicest guy, to see him on every single, and he was about 3'2", so it makes me look huge. It's great.
Me too.
But he's just. It was just his knowledge and his understanding of his vocals. That's what gets me, is that not only did he understand where the notes needed, but he knew how he would do it and why he was doing it, and how he could push it to go just that little bit further, and just to pick his brain for 5 minutes would be enough for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, if you were writing a song with a specific musician in mind, would you do sort of like a duet with them to actually do like a song with a duet?
Well, I mean, I don't sing. You don't want to hear me sing, but I would definitely write. If it was a vocalist, I would definitely try to write in that style, to match. But then again, with say like talk dueling guitar, I don't know if I would want to dual guitar with anybody, especially any of my heroes, because like I said, I'm a ham and egger of 9 chords. But I would definitely backing them up with just would I play? Absolutely, man. I'll back them up 100%. We were able to do, during the pandemic, we were part of the Here and Now project, which was a group of musicians worldwide that we worked digitally, creating songs. And I got to work with and write music for Steve Grimmett from Grim Reaper, I worked with Stu Marshall from Death Dealer out in Australia, Patrick Kinnison from Ford, and I got to play, all the rhythms for everybody. Me, that was awesome. Then to have back up these quality players and singers, that was just awesome. I didn't need to play a lick of bleed. I don't care. It doesn't. Why would I? When you got these guys, you know what I mean? In my, so yeah, I would do it. And if they said, listen, all you're going to do is just kind of hit a note here and there, like, okay, I'm in.
I mean, I don't play guitar. I can barely get out one chord, never mind nine. So, yeah, as a singer, I think it's an interesting question, and it's something that I've looked at and teetered with the idea before. It's not something I would ever shy away from, but I have to make sure that the song, the mood, the story, and the other vocalist would compliment me while I would compliment them, and it would make sense to the story itself. I did discuss with Blaze Bailey's partner once that Angel and the Gambler, if you remember the song off the Virtual 11 album, I did say that would be perfect as a duet. With a low end I can't remember her name now, but the lead singer from Nightwish, having her and Blaze Bailey on one side and the other would make that story just so much better. Instead of just having Blaze going, "Don't you think I could save you? Don't you think?" for about 25 fucking times, I think it has to complement and it has to work right. So for me to write something like that, I would have to not only have in mind my abilities, but it would have to be their abilities as well. But it's not something I'll ever shy away from. No. Are you interested, Elle? Is that something you want to get into, or?
Yeah, no, not really. I can't hold a note.
Neither can I, and here I am. Let's do it together.
Yeah, good questions. Yeah, I think you were thinking of Taria, the first singer of Nightwish.
Yeah, yes, I think so. Yeah, she just had fantastic vocals, and I think that those style of vocals would fit very perfectly within that song to help not only take Blaze and complement his vocals, but it would. I believe on a personal level that it would take that song into a different, not a different story, but to a different level of that story. You now have two people that are complementing one another instead of just, again, having Blaze just saying the same word over and over and over again. It is voted one of the worst Iron Maiden songs in of all time. Great song, and it is a good song. I like the song, but I think that a duet is missing out of that one. So again, if we've got Rob Zombie listening, Blaze Bailey, Jared from Subway, Steve Harris, if we've got all these, Judas Priest, KK Downing, if we've got all these people listening, that if you could just get in touch and we'll sort some stuff out. And Vince Neil, if you're listening, just stop. Fucking stop. just stop. That's it, cancelled. Cool. We're cancelled. Yeah. That's it, we're done. I've fucked it now.
I know what you mean, Mark, without being funny.
We don't want to go down that road, do we? Mick's shaking his. I can see internally he's shaking his head. He's thinking, "No, what have I got? No, I'm going to leave now before it has dire consequences." No, I didn't mean it, Vince. You carry on. You're an amazing individual.
Yeah. So we're going to start wrapping things up here. As it's getting on for nearly been going on for nearly 2 hours. Any last words, Mick, Mark? Any last words before before we sort of like wrap things up?
Just hey, thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it. It's fantastic to meet people, and this is the power of music and taking the power of social media in a positive direction. So we get to connect, and it's guys like yourselves that are helping the scene stay alive worldwide, right? So like I'm here and you guys are there, and we're all connected, right? The audience is from all four of us. We get to experience that. I think that's the positivity that the internet brings. There's a lot of negative, and I try to avoid all that. And I think the music gets trapped into that stuff. It's in the negative. We just stay positive. We help the scene by helping one another. I'm not saying that we have to, just by doing this really is being positive. And so I appreciate it from everybody here, and I thank you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think I can say much more than that. Just other than, again, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, Mick. It's been an honour to meet you and to hear the very short stories that you've had, because I won't stop talking, and I will apologise for that again. And it's he's right. It does bring. I mean, you've got myself from Yorkshire way. You've got Ell that sounds is from the north of England. Then you've got Basjan from South Africa, and then you've got Mick out in it. So the four people from completely different locations all coming together to have a talk is something of a beautiful thing, and I think we should continue the good stuff. And like you said, Mick, fuck off with the bad stuff. Like it's always a good thing. But no, thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you thank you to both for coming on.
Yes.
Thanks,
Guys, for coming on.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, thank you very
And
much.
if you've got any new gigs and stuff out, let me know anytime, and I'll put you guys on. Let you know.
But
No, thank you, Basjan. Thank you, El. It's been
That's
a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
thank you.
Cheers, guys.
So we'll catch you all later, guys, and we'll
Thank
see
you.
you on the next one.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Be
Yeah.
safe. Be safe.
God bless. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.